New York Giant fans or NFL football fans, welcome back to another episode of Bet the Over. I'm your host, Kevbo. We got a lot to break down in this episode, but I just want to start by saying we are 4 days away from the NFL draft. So whether you're a Giants fan or support any team in the NFL, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, April 23rd is going to be day one of the NFL draft where teams can really change their future by picking up some really great players. And on that note, I want to say the Giants now have two top 10 picks. As you all probably know, if you checked your phone within the past 12 hours, the Giants did indeed trade defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals for the 10th overall pick. Now, in this episode, I'm going to break down the good, the bad of that trade, and also kind of how it shakes up how the Giants might approach this draft in 4 days. As we all know, as I said in the intro, Dexter Lawrence has been traded to the Cincinnati Bengals for the 10th overall pick. Initial feelings, I was watching a movie and I literally jumped out of my seat. It was pretty shocking. I really did think the Giants were going to retain him. I know he wasn't necessarily happy with the management or the team. I think in the end, it really just came down to the money and also his unhappiness. And I guess with the management of the team, kind of shots at Joe Sheen. But let's get into Dexter Lawrence, the bad of this trade. Obviously, it's not the best idea to trade away your one of the best defensive tackles in the league. I honestly think he's the best. You can argue Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs or Jeffrey Simmons from the Tennessee Titans, but me personally, I am a little biased. I think Dexter Lawrence is the best defensive tackle in the league. You can't find too many DTs that can rush the passer the way Sexy Dexy does, but also stop the run. Honestly, most defensive tackles are kind of built to just solely win their battle with the center in the trenches and stop the run. But his real unique ability Dexter Lawrence had was rushing the passer. If you look at the pressures the past 5 years or 6 years, however long he's been in the league, he is by far at the top. I think he doubles the amount of pressures the second defensive tackle has. I think it's like Vita Bay or something. So you're losing a premier pass rusher, rare defensive tackle pass rusher in the league and one of the best run stoppers in the league as well. The Giants' run defense was already terrible last year with Dexter Lawrence. So now they definitely are going to have to address that, whether it's through free agency with the cap they cleared up or in the draft coming up, like I said, in 4 days. So the biggest things are really that you lose a significant run stopper and pass rusher, which the Giants defense kind of relied on. He would also, Sexy Dexy would demand a lot of double teams, which you could say helped out Abdul Carter and Brian Burns. Burns had 16 and a half sacks last year. He did fantastic. You could kind of accredit that to maybe Dexter Lawrence getting double teams. So he would have a lot more one on ones. What this means for the team moving forward, I think Abdul Carter's got to take a step up this year. He played better than a lot of people say. I mean, I know he didn't the sacks didn't necessarily translate, but he did have a lot of pressures. I think he had the most out of any rookies, or he was top three. I know. So he's definitely going to have to step up in the sacks department. Brian Burns has got to do the same thing as last year. I think both defensive ends kind of have to be more run stopping like centric this year because they have a major hole in the middle. I think Darius Alexander is going to have to step up. They're probably going to have to go after a defensive tackle in the second round of this draft. But let's get into the positives of trading Dexter Lawrence now. That was kind of the negatives. The positives is you got a major haul, the 10th overall pick, a top 10 pick. I really didn't think they were going to get that. I know Quentin Williams, the Jets got that from the Cowboys, but I didn't think he was going to get the Giants were going to get a first round pick because number one, Dexter Lawrence was already getting paid a lot of money and he was demanding more money, which he signed an extension earlier with the Bengals today. He makes $28 million. So he got $8 million more per year, I think, on his last year of the extension. So the Giants cleared up significant cap. They save, I think, $20 million is what they were paying him. So they have a lot more room now. They can go after a couple of defensive tackles. I know DJ Reader's out there, a name that a lot of people are saying. So they clear up a lot of cap. You get the top number 10 overall pick. They can kind of move in a bunch of different directions with that. But I think the biggest thing for trading Dexter Lawrence is that He didn't want to be here. He was getting paid a lot. And last year, it kind of looked like he wasn't really it looked like he wasn't motivated. He was supposedly injured. I think he was, but the motivation wasn't there. And Harbaugh said in his press conference, "If you don't want to be here and play football, we don't want you here." And that's exactly what what he did with Dexter Lawrence. Now, I don't know if it was more of a Joe Shane or a John Harbaugh decision to really let him go, because I know Sexy Dexy said he wasn't really happy with how the management has handled the team, but I think it's kind of best for both teams. I don't think the Giants really fleeced the Bengals. I mean, I think the Giants got the better end of the trade because you're kind of building more for the future, whereas the Bengals are basically signing him to make an instant impact right now. The Bengals are saying they think they have a good enough roster to get to the Super Bowl, whereas the Giants are still kind of building up this young core with the 2 top 10 picks. So great, good trade. I respect both sides. I do think the Giants got the better end of the trade. Getting a top 10 pick in the NFL draft is pretty rare. Last time the Giants had this, they kind of botched it with Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau. So they really need to hit on these picks in order for it to truly be a beneficial trade for them. Now, I'm going to get into kind of where this shifts their draft plans, I would say. With the fifth overall pick, there's a lot of speculation. I think the top three guys would be Jeremiah Love, Sonny Styles, or Caleb Downs. Those have been the top guys the Giants have kind of been targeting this whole offseason so far. I think if any three of them get there, there's a pretty good shot they'll take any of them. Right now, if I had the fifth overall pick, I would probably take Sonny Styles with the fifth and hope one of those two guys drop to 10. I think Caleb Downs has a pretty good chance of dropping to 10 if the Giants don't take him with the fifth, because I think Sonny Styles is a little bit more of a premier position. I mean, safety and outside linebacker, they're kind of in the same tier, but I think more people could see the upside with the outside linebacker. So I think in that scenario, you take Sonny Styles with the fifth and hope that Caleb Downs gets to 10. Now that might not happen. Let's say they take Sonny Styles with the fifth overall pick. Caleb Downs goes to like Washington or somewhere around there, maybe the Chiefs. Um, then at pick 10, you could go a couple different ways. Apparently, Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State, is high on the Giants' radar. They went to his pro day. Joe Shane brought him out to dinner, so that's a speculation. But I think Tyson's an elite playmaker. He's probably the best wide receiver in this draft, but he hasn't played a full season in his whole collegiate career. So there's a lot of questions right there. You have Malik Neighbors coming off an ACL tear, so you're going to have two wide receivers that were banged up last season coming in. You don't know what Malik Neighbors' availability is going to be. I know he should be ready for training camp, but you never know with ACLs. They could get the timeline can be pushed back a little bit. Carnell Tate, I think, would be a great pick at 10. Caleb Downs, if he's there, I think would be the home run pick. You would create a absolute elite defense. You would have to address defensive tackle somewhere in this draft or in free agency because, like I said, they have a hole in the middle now with Dexter Lawrence being gone. If you get Sonny Styles and Carnell Tate, you help both the offense and the defense. Dart's got another weapon. Sonny Styles is that freak of nature outside linebacker. Micah McFadden's only here for one more year, so I would love that as well. This whole trade came at a pretty crazy time. There's only 4 days till the NFL draft. I'm glad they got it done. If Dexter doesn't want to be here, he's not going to try his hardest, and he's not going to be the same player he was 2 years ago. You might as well go out and get what you can get for him because they got an absolute bag for him. A lot of value, saved a lot in cap room, and the future is going to be really bright for this team. I'm excited to see what they do in the draft now. You could even trade down. They kind of just opened up so many different options now with that trade. But on the downside, you lost the best defensive tackle in the league. I think both teams, it was a good trade for both teams. But like I said, I do think the Giants got the better end of the deal. Let me know down below what you guys think. Comment, subscribe. Let me know who you think the Giants should target in the draft. And let me know the free agents you think the Giants should go after moving forward with the extra cap room they have. Thank you again. And remember, bet the over.